Welcome to How to Crochet an Octopus. We're going to go through this pattern, which consists simply of single crochets and chain stitches in order to make this octopus. We're going to do it in two parts. We're going to create the head, which you can refer back to my video on how to create an amigurumi spear for the head. And in this video, we're going to go through the pattern on how to create tentacles. We're going to crochet in the round starting with the magic ring, and once you have completed the spear for the head, you can tune back into this video to make the tentacles. And for the tentacles, we're going to use the same supplies that we did for the head, grabbing a 5mm crochet hook, some scissors, and embroidery needle. I use solid color for the head, and for the tentacles, I like to use some multicolor yarn. Now for the pattern. You can follow along with the timestamp pattern in the description below. For the tentacles, we are going to create a magic ring and then work stitches in that magic ring to create a circle. To start with the magic ring, again, you're going to lay the tail end over your non-dominant hand, and we're going to wrap the working end up and over and across the tail end, creating an X. Grab a hold of your hook. You're going to go under and grab the yarn on the left as we twist. We'll then chain one with the working end, and that creates our magic ring. So let's do 8 single crochets into the magic ring. When we do our single crochets, let's make sure that we capture both the ring that we made and the tail end. Once we have 8 single crochets in the magic ring, we can pull our tail end. And pulling the tail end, if we did the magic ring correctly, will make the center of our ring small. Round 2, we're going to do 2 single crochets in each stitch around, working an increase in each of our stitches. Getting both the front and back loop, working 1 single crochet and a second single crochet in each stitch. Round 1 we did 8 stitches. In round 2 we're going to work 2 single crochets into each of those 8 stitches, so we will finish with 16 single crochets at the end of round 2. Round 3 is our tentacle round, where we make the tentacles. We're going to use a Curlicue pattern to create the tentacles. First, let's single crochet into the next stitch. Then we'll do our Curlicue pattern to create a tentacle. We're going to chain 15. And now do the Curlicue pattern down the chain. So I'm going to skip my first chain from the hook and do 3 single crochets into the second chain from my hook. Here's our asterisks. So we're going to repeat the next part down the chain. I'm going to chain 1, skip the next chain, and then do 3 single crochets into the chain after that. Then I go back to the asterisks and repeat. Chain 1, skip the next chain, and then do 3 single crochets into the next chain. So repeat that pattern together one more time. Chain 1, skip the next chain, three single crochets into the chain after that. You're going to repeat that pattern 3 more times down the chain. Once you've completed the curlicue pattern, you'll notice that the tentacle curls. And to finish the tentacle pattern, we are going to single crochet into the next stitch. We've done 1 tentacle, we need to do 7 more. Let me walk you through the next one as well. The pattern begins again with a single crochet into the next stitch. Then we skip to the curlicue pattern, so we chain 15, first part of the pattern, we skip this chain and do 3 single crochets into the second chain from the hook. Then we start the repeat pattern for the curlicue. We chain 1, skip the next chain, 3 single crochets into the next chain. Go back to the asterisks, chain 1, skip a chain, 3 single crochets into the chain after that. And go back to the asterisks. Chain 1, skip the chain, 3 single crochets into the next chain. And you'll repeat that pattern down the chain. Last step for the tentacle pattern, once you've worked the curlicue pattern, is to single crochet into the next stitch. And we've completed 2 tentacles. You can repeat that pattern going back, rewatching the video, until you have 8 tentacles. Once you have 8 tentacles, we're ready to sew the tentacles onto the head. We have 2 ends that we can sew with. We have the end from the magic ring, and then we also have the long tail. So once you fasten off the tentacles, you can cut that long tail, attach the yarn to your tapestry needle, and then you can decide which end is up on your tentacles. So once you finish, you'll notice that the tentacles naturally fall one direction, so that'll be your bottom side. And then to sew on the tentacles, we can work around in round 1. We'll get the bottom of our head, and then we can crochet around the last round there. So to sew the head onto the tentacles, you can go through the bottom of the tentacles, go into the next stitch, up through the head, capturing the stitch from the last round, and then go back through the tentacles. So let's work on sewing the head onto the tentacles, and then we'll do the finishing touches together. For the finishing touches, you may decide to put a face on your octopus. I'm going to opt just to simply put slits for eyes, and I'm going to use the remainder of my tail ends. So I still have the yarn on my embroidery needle, and I'm going to use that yarn to create eyeballs. So I'm going to stick it right through the center, decide where I want my eyeballs to be. Go up in at the bottom, back through on the top, and I'm just going to go right back to the bottom of my tentacles. Pulling it through gently. And I'll do that with the other tail end. And create the other eyeball. Using the same, I'm going to use the same technique for the second eyeball. So I'm going to slip it through the bottom, decide where I want the second eyeball to be. Pulling it through loosely. If you found that you've done it too tight, you can just take your needle back and pull a little on the eyeball. Alright, looks good. Then we can take the remainder of the tail and just weave it through the bottom. Using the hook at the end as the tail has become too short to use the needle. And now on the screen you can view our finished product. Thanks for tuning in to How to Crochet an Octopus. If you have any ideas for future videos, you can leave them down in the comments below.